Gerald, do you think that it will help you to have a nice cup of tea?
I think that would be the most welcoming gesture you've ever made.
Ever? I've made you tea before, Jill. Don't tell people I haven't made you tea.
She has made me tea.
But it's usually the other way around. Okay, you have a choice between two magnificent cups. You have either the pink Royal Albert with the lovely flowers on the inside, or the Bernardo with birds, butterflies.
I think the Bernardo sort of strikes a wee fancy
Since
for
you
me.
went to that factory shop. Right, so you ready for the questions?
Yep, as I'll ever be.
Welcome to this week's second Patreon video. As promised, it's time for the interview with Scotman, who, because it's a special occasion, has decided to wear tartan. Obviously, usually you're quite incognito,
Well,
not in tartan.
I decided not to wear my hat today.
It's more formal, is it, like
Well,
this?
people was wondering, do I really have a head? And I thought, today's the day to
You're going to unveil.
It's really because I tried to hide my ears.
It's really funny because Jerry gets recognised more than any of the rest of us. And I think that's because he is always head to toe in tartan with the hat and the tartan mask. And then in these days of COVID, he's going through the airport like that. And then he genuinely goes, well, I don't know how they recognise me.
And I usually have a
and
t-shirt on, as seen in Escape to the Shadow DIY.
Just in case I hadn't
Yeah.
seen you. And an arrow, holding an arrow over your head. Cheers, Gerald.
But I do, cheers. But I do get recognised quite a lot. And I find it a great honour, and I never ever feel that insecure when people come up to me.
You never feel bothered or disturbed?
Never. I always think it's a compliment if people come up and say, "Hi Jerry, how you doing? How you feeling now? It's great to see you're looking well."
Okay, we're going to start
I was just
this.
killing time.
We're going to start. Oh, that's probably quite a long question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What led you to Lalande?
Oh, well, we have to go back nearly 45, 50 years ago. Stephanie's father, Derek, he was the manager of a nursing home right across from where I lived in Glasgow in Tollcross, the East End. This is before Stephanie was born. And my mother got a job, my real mother, who's still alive and I love very much. She got a job working at this nursing home where Derek was in charge. And I used to go and sit in the back step. My mum would work from 4 in the afternoon to 7 at night. And I would go every day. And I would just sit in the back step reading the comics.
Just waiting for her?
Just waiting for her. I was always worried she would never come back.
No!
Yeah.
Why did you worry she wouldn't come back?
Because it was the very first job. She had always been at home, and I always known if I'd been out playing, I went home, she was always there. So when I came in and she wasn't there, as a child, I was maybe 11 at the time. 11, maybe just coming up for 12, I was still at primary school. And I would sit in the back step reading my comics. I wasn't sitting going like, oh my, I would be quite happy.
But then you knew where she was, you were near her.
And it was at the back door. And this man used to come walking past and he'd say hello to me. Say hello. And then the next night he'd be walking past. "Oh, you're here again." I says, "My ma works here." I says, "And I'm waiting for her." Okay. And then I would go during the day and I would sit in the back step, and it was one day, and I still remember it, your father was walking past. "You're here again." I says, "I'm still waiting for my ma." He says, "Well, make yourself useful. Come and help me." I says, "I'll have to go and ask my mum. I'm not allowed to go with strangers." Right? So I went in, my mum was in the kitchen, and I'd never met anybody who didn't have a Glaswegian accent. And Stephanie's father was from London, spoke beautiful English, but as far as I was concerned, he was speaking a different language. So when your daddy says to me, you know, make yourself useful, help, I went in and I says to my ma, "You know that man that talks funny? That's my boss. You better behave yourself." I says, "He's asked me to help him." "Will you behave yourself? You better behave yourself." So I went there and he started to teach me how to do DIY. land to do DIY. We were building this beautiful aviary, absolutely stunning, and I just felt it became a father figure. And then growing up, and he says to me one day, "You haven't met my wife." And I says, "No, I've not met your wife." "That's because my wife works in a hospital. She's the nurse in charge, and during the day you will never see her because she's sleeping."
She worked nights.
She worked nights and she slept during the day. "But she would like to meet you." I says, "Ah, well, that's all right then." 12-year-old.
You didn't care about meeting his wife at all.
I had no idea she was. I had no idea she was French. I had enough trouble, putting up with this English accent. And when I went up, Isabel came through. "Hello, little boy, how are you?" I says, "Oh, behave yourself."
I love it when he does Mummy's accent.
"Little boy, how are you?" I said, and I says, oh, and I really felt sorry. I thought that must have attracted them because they both have got a speech impediment. That must have been the attraction. And we were going on, and it was absolutely wonderful because all during the school holidays, I was with Daddy all day.
Yeah.
And then the schools were starting back, and I didn't want to go back to school. And the teachers went on strike, and they were going to carry on. And then all of a sudden, your mum would see me from the window. "Why are you not at school? The teachers are on strike." And then she seen me there about 3-4 days later. Daddy and I was out working. "Little boy, why are you not at school again?" "The teachers are on strike." "Right, I'm going to phone up." And your mummy went to phone them up. I says, "No, they'll come back tomorrow."
You were lying about the strike carrying on.
And as soon as your mother was going to phone the education, obviously had to go. Till one day, and I could tell your father was a little bit, I wouldn't say concerned, but he wanted to speak to me. And he says, "Jerry, I have to tell you something." And I thought, "What?" "You're going to notice Isabel's tummy is going to get a little bigger." I says, "What do you mean?" "She's going to get bigger." I says, "Is she pregnant?" He says, "You're 12, you know these things." I says, "Yeah." And that was the day that Stephanie was born.
But probably not the day I was born.
No, not the day. Maybe about 7 or 8 months later that you were born. And that really was my start of my life. And I still call it the start of my life, was the day I met Derek. The biggest influence in my life. He was more than a father figure, more than a best friend. And I've never been with anybody who even could touch him. He was the most gentlest artistic man, but very caring. Like me, he had a very small social circle.
Yeah. He didn't have a big group of friends. He didn't like socialising much, did he?
Well, my social circle comprises of me.
And Derek.
And Derek.
And
Derek.
Mummy.
And since then, it's just been Mummy and Stephanie and growing up. So then we moved to Southport, we stayed there, and then on June the 9th, 1983, I can still remember it, when Daddy looked at Cransford Hall and he says, "That is it." And coming down the drive of Cransford Hall, very imposing building, beautiful looking from the distance. My breath was just taken by it.
I was with you the first time you saw it, because I was in the car with you, wasn't
Yeah.
I? Mummy and Daddy were in one car,
Yeah.
and you and I were in the other car.
That's it.
We saw
And
Cransford Hall for the first time together.
Just arriving there. And
It's not a moment anyone can ever forget. And I was only 6, but I'll never forget it.
You don't forget it.
You don't forget that amount of beauty.
Oh.
That's the strangest thing, is being so struck by beauty.
Mummy and Daddy retired for different reasons, probably 89, 90.
Yeah, my parents retired early because of health reasons.
Yeah.
Mummy had cancer in her mid-40s, and Daddy had a fractured skull from a very, very strange accident, which was awful. And it took actually a couple of years for him to get back to normal.
Massive.
After that. It was a big, big accident.
Yeah,
He just fell over. He fainted standing up, but his legs didn't buckle. No one to this day knows why that happened. And so he fell straight over backwards onto a tiled marble floor in Andorra, of all places, and had to be airlifted to France. And he very nearly didn't make it, but we got really lucky.
Yeah.
And he did. And after a couple of years, he was back to normal after a little bit of weirdness in the meantime.
I think at that point, Mummy and Daddy realised just how important life was. Because the nursing home that Stephanie's parents had was a specialised purely for people with dementia, Alzheimer's and so forth. And they ran it constantly, 24/7. They had no manager. They did everything themselves. They were on call every night.
And
they never had a social life.
Mummy's not someone who can let go. I mean, she just wants
no.
everything to be done perfectly. And in fact, she's the same here, isn't she? She can't
Absolutely.
relax.
She was a senior nursing officer, and she was in charge of 1,800 beds. So she obviously knew what she was doing. Even doctors would come and ask her advice. She was always very much hands-on. But what I will always say, she would never ask anybody to do anything that she wouldn't do.
That's still the case.
She always leads by example, and still very much, even to this day.
Yeah.
And then when you moved to Lalande 15 years ago, you know, Stephanie's family are my family. Often people say, you know, you say your brother and sister, and Stephanie's English, what is the connection? We're not blood brother and sister, but I've been with Stephanie since the day she was born. Gone through school, everything. I've always been there right by her side. So, I would say we're probably closer than a lot of brothers and sisters.
Yeah, because it's a choice in our case.
Oh,
it's not a
absolutely.
choice for a lot of siblings.
Yeah, very much so. And this is where I am now.
That's what led you to Lalande.
And this is why I'm at Lalande now.
That was the short. That was genuinely the short answer.
And that was me cutting a lot out.
Yeah.
You can tell I'm a taxi driver.
This will be interesting because I actually don't think I know the answer to this. What were your first impressions of Lalande? Do you remember the first time saw it?
Yeah, I remember my first impression was very much like my first impression of Cransford Hall. To me, the first time when I came to the chateau, and it was Daddy that picked me up at the airport, and I had visions of what the chateau was going to be like because it was explained to me where it was going to be. But when you turn off that road, main road, and then you turn left, going along the drive, and you see the turrets, and you see it's like a U shape.
Yeah.
And you look at it, you see the courtyard. There was no fountain at the time.
No.
And just turning up, and Daddy says to me, well, what do you think? I said, this is marvellous, absolutely stunning. And then coming in, I was just blown by it. I had no idea. None of Stephanie's family, I would say, are very religious. I go to Mass every Sunday, and I say my prayers. So when I walked round and I seen the chapel at the back, to me, that was a big plus.
Yeah, that was it for you.
I felt this was so important. It was a castle then, and it was a chateau, and it had its own church.
Right, question number 3, Gerald.
Okay.
What's your favourite colour and why?
My favourite colour, well, you know my house is all yellow.
Yeah.
And I know you like yellow. I live in a tiny little apartment, 1 bedroom little flat. I run my office there, and it's yellow everywhere. My lounge is yellow, my sofas are yellow, my carpet's yellow, and tartan. I wear tartan. Now, the reason I wear tartan is a lot of people usually say to me, "Where are you from?" You know, and those people. I was with a lady for 16 years, and when I first met her, she thought I was German.
She was from the Philippines.
She was from the Philippines. She hadn't been here long, and she thought I was German. So I thought, I'm going to start to wear tartan. You know, people would realise that I was Scottish with tartan. So it just took off, and people would say, "I love your tartan shirt. I love your tartan hat." And in the TV programme, I wear tartan. And actually, the producer, it was Libby, who says, Jerry, we talk about it in London. We just love you in tartan. You're one of the people that sticks out in the show. But I'm going to let you into a secret. We've just finished filming the new series of Escape to the Chateau. And that's the last time I'm going to wear the shirt that we wore in the programme. This I wore especially for you patrons.
Is this the new one?
This is the one I'm going to be wearing in the new series.
Tartan shirt. You saw it here first.
Yeah, this is an exclusive for you. My goodness, you're getting a lot of good stuff today.
Okay, so to be fair, tartan's not a colour. But,
Yellow.
Okay, so tartan's your favourite pattern, yellow's your favourite
That's
colour.
it, you've got it.
Great.
You've got it. But I love this shirt. Do you know it's expensive? I bought it with a cheque.
Oh, it's really agony.
Sorry.
It's all day long, actually.
Sorry.
I'm going to have a top up of tea, mainly because of that joke, Gerald. I just have to settle myself.
Maybe just a wee touch, not too much.
Do you want some milk?
No.
More milk?
Nah, that's fine, thank you.
Right. Question number 4, Gerald.
Okay.
What did you want to be when you grew up, and what did you become?
Growing up, I wanted to be a comedian and an actor. When I was a child, they did a school play at St Paul's, and if anybody knows the song McNamara, oh my name is McNamara, I'm the leader of the band, and though we're low in number, we're the best in all the land. Of course I am the conductor and I often have to play with all the fine musicians that you read about today. Oh, the drums go bang, the cymbals clang, the horns they blaze away. McCarthy pumps the old bassoon and Doyle the pipes does play. Oh, Hensy Toodly. Now the reason I'm saying...
You know all the words.
Yeah, that was from a child. And the bit, oh, Hensy Tootly Toots, the flute, the music, something grand. And a credit to Old Ireland's boys as McNamara's band. Da 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 da. Well, I was Hensy Tootly. And I can remember leaving the line as Hensy Tootly, tooting the flute, and everybody all cheering and clapping. And I forgot to go back into the line.
You were having such fun.
I was waving at everybody. My mum was sitting in about the 4th row, and I kept waving at her. I was like, that's me. They're all clapping at me. And there used to be a show called Junior Showtime. And the compere was a man called Bobby Bennett. And I wrote, Dear Mr. Bobby Bennett, I would like to be an actor. I think I would be really good at it. And he says, well, the best thing to do is try to find a school that'll do acting. And it was in Glasgow City Centre, Glasford Street, that they had a drama academy. And I went to see them, and I might have been about 10 at the time. I went on my own.
Wow.
I got the bus on my own. Oh, I was never scared of nothing. And I remember I turned up, and the lady was there, can I help you? I says, can I join your class? She says, yeah. She says, every Saturday morning. I says, yeah, I can come. And she says, it's a shilling. And I never had a shilling. I says, can I help with the cleaning and tidying up? I don't have any money. I don't get pocket money. And she says, no, I'm sorry, son. We can only take people that can afford.
Oh no.
And that was
That's awful.
And that was the end of my acting career. You know, I did my best. I put on tears and everything. You know, and this is why that I used to go and try and collect what they call ginger bottles, and you would get a penny with the ginger. And I tried to save up money to go to drama school. And this is what I was. You know, when Daddy gave me a job, and £3 a week for a 12-year-old, I would say that's probably the equivalent of somebody this day getting £1,000.
No.
A grown-up adult. I don't know.
No.
£3 a week.
Well, I'm sure that maybe it seemed like that to you at the time, but I can't imagine my father was giving a child £1,000 in today's money.
No.
Can you imagine? You just started an empire.
I told you I would like to have been a comedian. This is why I've got no money. I've got really no concept of money. You know, somebody once asked me, how much is it for fish and chips? I says, I don't know, about £40. They say, you just don't live in the real world. I do buy my own food. You know, but I just, and I just give it whatever it is.
Yeah, you don't notice.
No, I don't notice.
Well, because you haven't got expensive taste. You never
No.
go on splurges. You never.
You know,
The most expensive things we ever do are holidays.
and that's it. I adore Stephanie's company. And my Christmas present every year is, when she was a child, it used to be her birthday, I would take her to a big concert in London.
Yeah, we went to such great concerts. We saw Michael Jackson.
Madonna.
Yeah.
Bros.
Elton John.
Ellen John, yeah. But did you come to Tina Turner?
Yeah, Tina Turner.
And there used to be a band called Bros. And we were through, and Bros were like, I don't know, a heartthrob band, a boy band. And we were going through London, and I got Stephanie and I a hot dog. And this man says to me, are you a Brosette? I says, no. I says, it's my sister, it's her birthday, and I'm taking her for her birthday. And they all started singing happy birthday. And Stephanie was quite shy. She said, don't tell people it's my birthday. She was 34.
I was super cripplingly shy as a child with strangers.
Yeah, and when she was with me, she would talk and talk and talk, and as soon as somebody else joined the company, zip, she wouldn't say a word. But then as soon as they left, yeah, we're going to go to the zoo today. Are we going to do this? Are you taking me in the pram? Can we go to the park? Can we play with the dolls?
So you wanted to be an actor?
I wanted to be an actor.
And you have ended up on TV?
Oh yes, yeah, I've ended up on TV. It was never an ambition to be on TV. It was always an ambition to be happy. You know, to me, it's the most important thing. And I believe you make choices in life. I think if I can change something, and if I've got the power to change something, I'll change. But sometimes you don't have the power. But I would say one of the most important things which had a real profound effect on my life, even to this day, was when I ran the soup kitchen in Ipswich. And it was one night, and if people ever ask me, I've never spoke about this, not even I talk about everything in the taxi, but this one night I was at the soup kitchen, and there was a man came up and he says to me, are you in charge? I says, well, we don't really have, we're a team. He says, I need help. He says, I can't go on with life anymore. I've had enough of life. I says, come on, we'll sit down. We did the soup kitchen out in the open. We weren't in any enclosure. And I says, okay, what's your problem? He says, I've been sleeping at the back court of this person's house. They've been putting a bit of carpet down for me to sleep on. And he says, and I've got nowhere to go. And he says, I just can't take it anymore, I can't sleep outside. And I says, do you mind me asking, how did you get into this situation? He says, I'm from Newcastle and I'm an engineer and I was working at Sizewell B. And I went to live with this lady at Sizewell B. I was making good money and spending everything. I've got no family anywhere else. But when Sizewell B was built and finished, I was made redundant. The woman then put me out the house and I had nowhere to live. I had no money. I stayed at the Salvation Army for 3 nights. That's all you're allowed to be in the Salvation Army. He says, no, I've been sleeping rough. And I says, do you drink or take drugs? He says, nothing like that. I don't take, I just write down in my luck and I can't go on. And I hope I don't get emotional. And I says, okay, I says, I'm going to take you somewhere. And there was a guy called Mick who ran a bed and breakfast. And I went to see him. And I says, Mick, I've got this gentleman with me. And I had my own money and I paid £36. It was £12 a night. I says, now the first thing, because he couldn't get any benefits because he had no fixed abode.
Yeah.
So I says, make sure it goes to the Social Security.
With the address.
Get him the benefits because he's got a roof. But whatever you do, don't put this man out in the street again. Phone me up, Mick, and the next time I'll come and pay you whatever it is. And so the guy, you know, he was very dishevelled and beard and left, and I heard nothing. For months and months I heard nothing. And it was one night, there was the usual people at the soup kitchen feeding them all, and this chap came up with an envelope with money. He says, "There's some money for you." And I says, "I'm sorry, we don't accept donations, we're self-sufficient." And he says, "You don't remember me?" I said, "I'm sorry, I don't." He says, "I'm the person you took to the bed and breakfast, and and he says, "I want to pay you the money back. I'm living in Felixstowe, I'm working in Felixstowe docks," and he says, "You saved my life that night."
Oh, Gerald.
To me, that's been the greatest achievement that I've ever made. I don't talk about it because when I think about it,
you start crying every time.
when I think about it, I get emotional, and I've never seen the man or heard from him since. But he told me he had his own flat and he was living in Felixstowe.
And he brought you the £36
and he came
back.
with the £36 that I paid, and I wasn't expecting it.
So you changed someone's life for £36.
For £36, yeah.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, and I'm a great believer in karma, where you do something good and it comes back to you. And to me, I couldn't have been in a more blessed family, you know, with Mummy and Stephanie. They're the most loveliest people. So I just feel I've done something hopefully good to somebody, and to me that's come back tenfold.
Well, I think that's how we all feel here. Actually, because of all of you, because of the patrons, I feel that we're being blessed by people who've never even met us personally and who are changing our lives. And it's really only tiny what we're doing at the moment, but trying to start a new channel. This is something that I'm going to ask you all about. But basically the presents at the chateau, presents are arriving so fast that we only open them once a week. Otherwise, the Chateau Diaries is going to become a channel purely about opening gifts, and I don't feel that that's what the channel is about. But there's so many gifts being sent from generous people that I'm now thinking it would be a good idea to start a new channel just for the gift openings, and that way people who aren't interested in the gift openings won't get notifications for them.
That's an excellent idea.
Yeah, they can just subscribe to that channel and get notifications if they like watching them. We could maybe do more than one opening a week to catch up, because I don't want to rush it. It's not fair on the person who sent a gift. They've put so much thought in, and then for me to just go, oh well, here's a thermos and here's a cushion and here's a... That's not right. That's not right. We've got to really take the time for everything, and then I could make all of the revenue from that channel can go to charity, because at the moment all of the revenue from the cadeaux at the chateau are going
that's
to
a
charity.
wonderful idea.
So that channel could be a charity channel purely for that. I think that's
yeah.
This is the only way I can think of to pay forward the kindness that we're receiving.
And you're very transparent with everything that you do. You know, I live here a lot and everything's so transparent. You don't... What Stephanie says is...
I couldn't live any other way.
You can take it to the bank.
No, I couldn't live any other way. It makes me shudder. I don't know how we got onto that from what did you want to be when you grew up, but there we go. That's the whole thing about interviews. You never know where it's going. Number 5.
Okay.
There's 10 altogether.
Okay,
so
let's
point.
go to number 5.
Oh, well, you have literally just answered it without knowing it. What has been a defining moment in your life? You just answered it.
Yeah. Very
That's
much
incredible.
so. Very much so. People are very important to me. Very important.
I think two things. Sorry, I've just cut you off there. But basically, you just said that was one of the most defining moments, helping that man. And you also said earlier that meeting my father was
the greatest achievement was me and Stephanie's father. Without a doubt, people talk about defining moments in their life and what's happened. To me, it was when I was 11 and I met Derek Charles Jarvis. Little did I know that day when I was sitting in the back step, that man was going to change my life. Right to this very day, right now, even as I'm sitting here with Stephanie, the influence
it's
of
amazing.
Derek.
You never know at what point your whole life changes direction. And you can't see it at the time. You can't see it until years and years later.
And there's one thing that I've always remembered that you know your father told me. He says there's too many people very ambitious, very clever, both your parents. He says, you go through a path in life. He says, he felt as if you were going through a path. There'll be gates of opportunity as you're going through that long path. He says, now everybody has got a choice whether they open that gate and take a path of opportunity. He says there's too many people who just go through from one end, from the start of their path to the end of their path, without actually opening these gates and finding what's going to be behind. And this is where I see Stephanie has got that ambition. She has really got the ambition. She's got a great vision like her father. When she sees something.
I don't think of myself as ambitious. It's bizarre. I've never described myself or thought of myself as ambitious, but I do have an idea of what I think life should be like.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's
I'm ambitious about life and community and people.
And that's what I find is your
enjoyment.
ambition. You know, everybody's ambition is to be happy, but I feel that you're living the dream. I know a lot of people say that, oh, they're living the dream. Stephanie is living the dream.
It takes a lot of paddling beneath the surface to live the dream.
And the land is, you know, it's the land of make-believe. People that come here, you see them all talking, and Stephanie was speaking to somebody the other day, a guest that had came, and this lady actually said, yeah, it's everything I thought it would be and more. And it's all doing to this young lady here.
No, it's not. That's the whole point. It's not. It's down
Stephanie,
to everyone.
the land wouldn't be here. I know you've got a great circle, but you're the glue that holds this place together.
The glue, I'm the glue.
She's the glue. Right.
So, number 6. What is the most embarrassing thing you've ever done?
I can't tell you.
Okay,
It's too embarrassing.
What's the second most embarrassing thing you've ever done?
The most embarrassing thing I've ever done, my goodness me.
There's so many to choose from. There's a wealth.
Yeah. I think it was a time where we left Southport and we had 6 weeks. We had to stay in Llangollen, which is in Wales. Mummy and Daddy had hired a house.
I vaguely remember it was like a little cottage.
Yeah,
or
it was like a cottage. And I still remember at the bottom of the hill, they had a pub called the Sun Trevor Inn, and I think it was right on the River Dee. I went down to this pub and I met with some Welsh people, and they took to me. I don't know why they took to me, but they took to me and kept giving me a lot to drink. And the size of me, it doesn't take much for me to get intoxicated. And I had a bit too much to drink. Now, when I came back to the cottage and came upstairs, on the right hand side was Mummy and Daddy's room, and on the left hand side was my room. And I got to the top of the stairs and I wasn't sure. I says, do I go right or do I go left? I took the wrong turn. I turned right and I went into the bedroom. And I started to try and get into bed. And your mum was, what are you doing? I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong bed. And I left the bedroom and I went into their toilet. And I was climbing into the bath. This is, talk about embarrassing. You know that, I was affronted.
And my mother is not the sort of person who would see the funny side of this.
My goodness.
At all.
So anyway, I go into it and I'm starting to climb into the bath and your mother comes in. What are you doing?
I love the way you immediately do the dressing down.
What are you doing? I says, shh, there's people sleeping. I'm going to my bed. That's the bath. Shh, you're going to wake everybody up. Shh, go back to your bed. I'm going to bed. Shh, stupid boy. And she took me into the bedroom and she says, there you are. And she pushed me in. And I woke up in the morning and you know when you have a feeling and you're hoping it was a dream. And I thought, right, okay, I remember leaving the pub. And I says, oh no. Oh, I don't believe it. And I've never lived it down. Even to this day. When I walk into a hotel and I go into the bathroom and I look at the bath and I say,
Still there.
It's still there. The mental scars will never leave me.
Number 7.
Right.
What is your greatest strength and your greatest weakness?
My greatest strength is I seem to notice when somebody is upset. I seem to notice when things is not right with people. I pick up an atmosphere and I try to find out, it's none of my business what people go in their life, but if I notice, and I drive a taxi, and I will never start a conversation in a taxi. I always wait for that person to talk to me.
In case they just want a nice peaceful
And
drive.
yeah, absolutely. You know that they pay, so they go from A to B and they'll be quiet. But it's amazing where people will turn around and talk to a taxi driver.
Yeah.
They'll tell me their problems and everything else, and I will say I will not discuss anybody's personal conversation in the taxi.
So you're like the local sort of confessional.
Yeah, I've got
Mobile confessional.
I've got a little curtain, and I put the curtain round, and I'll say, "Okay, my child, you may begin." And I'll say, "Father Gerald, it's been 4 weeks since my last trip. I'm terribly sorry. I've been with Woodbridge cars." And I shake my head. Dear, dear, dear. That'll be £2 extra. You know, and a 50p tip. You know, so when I see things like that, and I wouldn't say it's a weakness, but my weakness is that I can't bear to see somebody who is weaker than me or in poverty. And if I've got the strength to help them, I would give my last to somebody if I felt they needed something. And people say, "Oh, that's a weakness, you should be strong." You know, it's where you let the weak and the lame go and the strong survives. I'm the opposite. And I'll tell you, because when I was a child and I used to watch cowboys and Indians, I always wanted the Indians to win. I was a strange child, you know, because I would see they all had guns. And the Indians,
bows and arrows.
and bow and arrows. And I used to think, come on, this is no fair. Get them between the eyes. You know, get that gun away from the rifles. You know, and I used to love the Apaches, you know, and well, I had a best friend at school, and I'll say his name was Tiny, and the only way Tiny could run is he used to slap his thigh.
What?
That was it. One day Tiny and I, we were misbehaving and we were getting chased by the police. And
What were you doing?
It was nothing bad. We were taking apples, stealing apples or something, and the police car came. Right, stop. And Tiny says, "Run, Gerald." And I started to run, and I could see Tiny was running like that as he was gone. And I could hear the police behind laughing. I could hear the police laughing. And, you know, and this was the only way. Tiny would literally, it would this he was running, you know. And I says to Tiny, I thought you were going to fall off your horse. And he says that he's always as a child when he watched cowboys and Indians. That's it, he always pretended.
And he couldn't run.
And he couldn't. And even when he gets chased by the police, and if we were fighting, you don't be like that. Take that. You know? And that was, you know, about the cowboys and Indians and growing up in East End of Glasgow. And he actually had a tattoo with Indian ink, "Tiny kills for 10 bob." And it's still to this day, it must be the most embarrassing tattoo ever. And apart from, there's a Celtic supporter up in Glasgow, and he wanted, Celtic are a football team up in Glasgow, and they're going for 10 in a row, which means they've won the title 10 times in a row. And this Celtic supporter in Glasgow was out in Spain and he was drunk, and he went to a tattoo artist, and he says, "I want you to write 10 in a row." And the tattoo was, "What? 10 in a row?" And the tattoo artist wrote Ian Monroe.
Who's Ian Monroe?
He had no idea. He had no idea. He woke up in the morning. Who's Ian Monroe? And it should have been 10 in a row. The tattoo artist says Ian Monroe. And actually at Celtic Football Club in Glasgow, when this was printed in the newspaper, they were all singing, "There's only one Ian Monroe, one Ian Monroe," because they knew where he was sitting. And they showed it. Should have been 10 in a row, Ian Monroe. But anyway, I digress.
Let's see what the next question is. What is your star sign?
My star sign, I'm a fish. I'm Pisces the fish.
Is that the same as Daddy?
Yeah. Yeah, Daddy and I were both Pisces. Fish, I don't go a great deal in astrology. I used to read it, and every time I read my stars, it was always wrong. There was absolutely nothing, you know, today's your lucky day, and I would end up breaking a leg or something, you know. Today you're going to win the lottery, and I would get a tax bill. So I would say, no, I'm just not going to do this anymore.
Okay, number 9. Where do you hope to see yourself in 10 years' time?
This is something that I've given a great deal of thought to. I'm in an extremely lucky position where I've got a couple of little properties in Suffolk. Next December, I will have cleared all them.
All the mortgages.
And, you know, when you say more, who do I see myself with more than where do I see myself, I think would be more appropriate. Wherever I see Stephanie going, and Mummy, wherever they
That's
are.
our path.
That is it. I never see anything. It's unconditional, my love for Stephanie. So to say that I see myself at the Chateau in 10 years, should Stephanie decide that she wants to buy a villa in Spain, or if she wants to go to India and buy a castle in India, I'll be in India. So I think it's more appropriate to
I
say...
think we'll be here, Gerald.
You know, well... And
we won't have finished in 10 years' time, you realise
yeah, well,
that,
in
right?
10 years' time, God willing, I will be here with Stephanie. That's
I
what
hope
it's
so too.
Yeah, I don't see, you know, I think that ship has sailed about getting married and children. I've been in love, and I don't feel... I've got everything I need in life.
Yeah, but look at Mummy. That ship never sails, right?
Yeah, no, I'm saying that I've done all that, I'm happy, I don't sit and not for once I think, oh, I'm looking for somebody, I hope I can find the right woman. I've got such a wonderful life,
Yeah.
such a wonderful, blessed life, and, you know, I'm just lucky to be here. So in 10 years' time here.
Number 10. What is your purpose?
My purpose in life, I feel my purpose in life is, like everybody, as I said earlier, that if I feel I've got the power to change something, then I feel it's my purpose and my duty as a human being to step in and help wherever I can. If I can't help somebody, I will definitely won't harm anybody. I feel that is my purpose in life, and that the world would be a nicer place if everybody was maybe to show a bit of kindness. So in whatever little way I feel my purpose is to help my fellow human being.
And you do that all the time.
That's what I try to do.
You do it here as well. Honestly, when Gerald's here, it's so much better in the chateau. You just help everyone all the time. If he sees anyone like struggling carrying something, you're the first to run and help. You're the first to go and do something.
Because this is what I feel at La Land. I feel we're a team. You know, you don't get anybody, you know, like Stephanie doesn't turn round and say, oh, you won't catch me washing dishes. We're a team. Everybody helps. Stephanie cooks, Stephanie washes dishes.
Actually, to be fair, I haven't done that recently.
Really?
I haven't done much cooking. I've done very little cooking
you know,
recently.
well,
Matthew's been fantastic.
Yeah,
in
well,
the
of course,
kitchen.
you know,
Each person tries to play to their strength.
Yeah, we've got lovely Kat here. And Kat was saying to me this morning, I love cooking.
Yeah, she's a very good cook as well.
I love cooking. We had lovely Emily who's just gone. And we've got Gabrielle, who just came a few days ago, a lawyer from Venezuela.
You'll meet her on next week's
Lovely
vlogs.
girl. And a lawyer, was it Venezuela?
Yeah, lawyer from Venezuela.
And I was asking her, you know, what made her pick the land, and she looked at different chateaus. She says, but she's been following the Chateau Diaries, the vlogs, and she just feels that we get on. Now, you might notice when I always say good evening, lovely Lalanders, because I feel yous
On the
are
chat,
part.
on the premiere chats.
I always say good evening, lovely Lalanders, we chat, everything there, because I feel that yous are part of Laland. We're a family here, and yous are a big part of our family. And thank you for everything you do for us.
And actually, because we're going to talk about this on the Tuesday vlog, but you can tell everybody right now about your cancer news.
Ah, okay, well, I'm delighted to say 10 days ago, Dr. Scars, the consultant oncologist, he phoned me up last Friday and he says, how is things? I says, fine. I says, I'm just coming out of swimming. And he says, and how are you feeling? I says, absolutely no side effects, nothing at all. Or the radiation, they called it radical radiotherapy, which I went through. No side effects.
Just tiredness. You were
I
tired.
had a wee bit of tiredness, bit of
Yeah.
fatigue. It's the only
Yeah.
thing. But you know, if it's going to save your life.
Yeah.
And he says, well, I've got more good news for you. Your PSA is how they detect the cancer in the prostate is down to 0.3. So he says that is the good news. We've cleared the cancer.
And 0.3 is
It's
basically
more
no
than normal.
cancer, yeah.
It's completely gone from the prostate. Your prostate is the size of a walnut.
So, you've heard it here.
The cancer is gone.
Jerry's prostate is tickety-boo. I'm sure you wanted to know exactly the state of Jerry's prostate, and it is officially tickety-boo.
Tickety-boo, there you go. That's a wonderful word. I'm tickety-boo.
So that's the best news that we have had. Just
Okay.
the best news.
And this has been a wonderful interview. I had no idea what questions were coming. I'm sorry I got a bit emotional about one of the questions because it's something that's very, very dear to me and I never talk about it. But I just feel you are such good people. And thank you for listening.
Thanks for watching, and I will make another Patreon video next week because life's kind of gone back to normal here. We finished filming for Escape to the Chateau DIY. I'm not going on holiday to England to see Gerald. I'm not in Lake Garda to film a new channel. Life is going to be calm and I'll be able to make all of my videos nicely and serenely and get on with really exciting projects here. Lots and lots of love from Laland, from both of us.
Yeah, lots of love and thank you for watching and thank you for your support.